All right, today we're going to journey right into the heart of the Suleiman Mountains to uncover the story of the Habtani tribe. And let me tell you, their legacy, it's not just about a single people. It's about a powerful alliance, a massive migration, and an identity that was forged in one of the most rugged landscapes in all of South Asia. So this gets us to a really big question, one that kind of frames our whole story today. How does a tribe's identity even get made? Is it the land they live on, the history they carry with them, maybe the alliances they form? Well, for the Habtani, it turns out it's a really powerful mix of all three. And for the Habtani, the answer really starts right here, in these rugged, windswept peaks of the Suleiman Mountains. Look, this isn't just some pretty backdrop for their story. No way. This is the crucible. It's the very place where their identity was hammered out, where every single peak and every valley holds a piece of their history. Okay, so where do we even begin their story? To figure that out, we've got to go back, way back. We need to place the Habtani people inside the much larger, grander story of Baloch history as a whole. It all kicks off with one single, really powerful lineage, the Rind Baloch. Now, this isn't just some name from a dusty old history book. It's a direct connection. It links the Habtani to a legendary migration out of Makran, and it marks them as descendants of one of the most important ancestral Baloch groups. And the story goes that this huge migration was led by none other than the legendary Baloch chief, Mir Jalal Khan. You have to understand, this wasn't just a simple journey from point A to point B. This was a foundational event. This trek from Makran all the way into the foothills of the Suleiman Mountains, that's the epic origin story that's right at the core of who they are. But hey, the story doesn't just stop with the migration, not at all. After settling into their new homeland, the Habtani became a cornerstone of something much, much bigger, the powerful Leghari Confederation. And this was a super critical alliance that would go on to dominate the whole strategic region of Dera Ghazi Khan. Now, to really get what this confederation was all about, you've got to understand a key concept, the Tumen. Think of it as the fundamental building block of Baloch power. It was basically a tribal administrative unit, and its whole purpose was to organize and project both political influence and military muscle. And this power wasn't just some abstract idea, right? It was literally rooted in the land itself. The Legharis set up their Tuman in key strategic spots, like Choti Zareen and up in the commanding heights of Fort Monroe. It was from these strongholds that they cemented their control over the entire region. Okay, so where did the Habtani fit into this powerful confederation? Well, they weren't just another tribe in the mix. They had a unique and, honestly, an absolutely essential role, a role that would define their legacy for centuries to come. And this is the key to their whole identity. They were the Harawel Dasta. What does that mean? It means the vanguard, the tip of the spear. The Habtani were the main military force of the Leghari Tuman, and they were responsible for both defending its borders and for expanding its power. So what you get is this truly symbiotic alliance. On one side, you had the central leadership, the chief, the Tamundar, who came from the prominent Aliani family of the Leghari. But on the other side, the military muscle, that raw strategic power on the front lines, that was the Habtani. You could say the Leghari provided the leadership, and the Habtani provided the strength to make that leadership. All right, so we've talked about their history and their political role. But a tribe's identity, it runs so much deeper than just battles and alliances. It's also shaped by the land they call home, the languages they speak, and the core values they live and breathe every day. And their geographical footprint is really fascinating. It actually straddles the border between Punjab and Balochistan. They have strongholds in both Dera Ghazi Khan and Bar Khan, which means their identity is inherently cross-provincial. And you see this reflected perfectly in their language. So many Habtani are bilingual, totally fluent in both Balochi and Saraiki. And right at the heart of their identity, you find these three core values. First up is courage, jurat, which, let's be honest, is no surprise for people who were the vanguard, right? Then there's hospitality, mehman nawazi, which is just a defining part of the culture in that whole region. And finally, hard work, sakt koshi, which perfectly reflects their dual identity as both fierce warriors and really dedicated farmers. All of this brings us to a really critical question. How does such a rich historical identity survive and adapt in the 21st century? So, let's take a look at the Habtani's role in the modern world. Well, their identity has definitely evolved. I mean, while they absolutely honor their roots as esteemed warriors and farmers, the Habtani today are active contributors to modern Pakistan.
You'll find them everywhere, in education, in politics, and as key players in the national economy.
When you boil it all down, maybe the best way to sum up their place in history is with this simple description. The Habtani are a part of that great stream of Baloch history. They're not some separate little tributary, they are a powerful current flowing right through that great river. And this brings us right back to the question we started with, but now we have a much deeper understanding. When you look at the incredible journey of the Habtani people, from ancient migrations to their roles today, it really makes you think, doesn't it? In our modern world of nation-states and global culture, what does a tribal identity really mean today? It's a powerful legacy, and it's one that's clearly still evolving.